Hey guys, it's Donnie again. Just giving a little bit of an update on the Supra and the NAT build. I have 4 wires left in my harness. I'm waiting to hear back from Ecumaster on what to do with them. Their customer service isn't the greatest, but their product is awesome. I can't really say much. I'm just waiting on an answer. Once I figure out what to do with these last 4 wires, I'll wrap everything up. We'll make it look all nice. We'll make sure it fits in the car where it needs to, and then we'll go in and wire in the coil on plug. Finally, I've decided that I have to use the distributor. I can't get a hall sensor kit right now, so I'm going to use the distributor as the base for the crank sensor, and I'm just going to use it to trigger TT coils on a coil on plug. Just super simple. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's not hard at all. So I had a request to go over what I was using for parts, and today I'm going to do that video while we're still waiting to hear back from Ecumaster. I figure it's the perfect time. And then I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek on what I'm doing to the body of the car, which doesn't really pertain to any of this. But I did get a new lip that I have to get fixed, and I got something else that I'm going to put on the car, and I ordered something else that I'll be waiting for probably like the next 6 months. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. First topic we're going to talk about is maintenance. Let me grab something. So, when it comes to maintenance, there really isn't anything else to do aside from OEM. So, what I have for maintenance items, I got some seals, some valve covers, rear main seal, you know, all the common seals that go bad, new serpentine belt, Gates timing kit, I have the billet tensioner, I have everything for the timing kit, and then what I have at the shop is TT head gasket, ARP head studs, TT oil pump, and the trigger wheel. So that's all the stuff I'm going to be doing for maintenance. Oh, and I also have a TT water pump. So that's stuff we're going to be using, and that's stuff that we're going to be doing. Everything is OEM. I did not get anything else, and you really shouldn't skimp. You know, like an OEM belt is like $8 more than something else. Why would you even bother? Anyway, next topic, clutch transmission. If you guys don't know, my car is a factory 5-speed Mk4 and a Supra, so it has a W58. Transmission's made of glass, but we're going to try pushing 500 wheel horse through it. I have 2 350Zs outside I was planning on pulling a CD09 out of, but right now it's just really completely out of the budget, and I mean completely out of the budget. Right now I'm just more focused on getting the car back together, and getting it running, driving before the season's over, really, at this point. So for clutch, I went with an Action 6-puck sprung, and I also got their flywheel specific for that, and then we went and picked up ARP flywheel bolts. The last thing you want is to reuse all the OEM stuff. So for fuel, I went with, I guess we'll start with the most important pieces, the injectors. So for the injectors, I went with fuel injector connection, FIC 1000s. They're all great quality. Haven't put them in the manifold yet. I'm going to be putting that intake manifold together right after this video. So, and then I went with Fuel Lab regulator, and we have the gauge right here for it. And then to push all of that, I got an Aeromotive 345 fuel pump, which is in the back of the car right now. And then we haven't changed these out yet, so what these are right here, you should probably already know, but for those FIC 1000s, I'm going to have to run new injector pigtails because they're LSU style, or LS2 style rather. So I'm just going to have to wire these into the factory harness, but before I even do this, I'm still waiting to hear back from Ecumaster. So, on to the next topic. The next topic is going to be spark. I don't have any of that stuff sitting right here. So, for spark, I am going to have to go coil unplug using a distributor base as my signals, as well as the TT oil pump and the 12-point trigger on it. So I'm going to have to change that, sadly. I was originally going to be using a Hall effect sensor on the on an adjustable cam gear from Golby's Parts. However, they don't want to ship to the United States right now, and I don't have time to wait for this whole pandemic to end to build my car. So I'm going to be doing what I have to do. I'm going to be using OEM TT coil packs and OEM TT igniter. Next, turbo. This is probably what a lot of you guys wanted to hear. So this is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. The turbo I went with was a Borg-Warner S366. It has a 9.91 AR, and it's probably going to take forever to spool, but for what I wanted to just be able to drop a gear on the highway and have fun. So that's what I went with. If I wanted something more responsive, I would have went with something smaller. But for me, I wanted to be able to drive the car around town completely out of boost like it's NA. So that's what I went with for a manifold. I actually just got your run-of-the-mill Chinesium chrome eBay manifold. I didn't even realize they sent me the wrong one at first. They sent me a GTE, and I sent it out to get it modified to run my 45mm Turbo Smart wastegate. So now I have to get the replacement manifold modified for my wastegate, which isn't really a big deal. A lot of these guys, if you're running this manifold on an NAT build, I'll honestly let me just link the manifold right here. So if you're running this manifold on an NAT build, what I want to tell you, especially if you're using a Borg-Warner turbo, you need to have a 1/2-inch spacer welded on this manifold to clear your distributor and to get any sort of intake boot on the housing of the turbo itself. So if you want to get your intercooler piping attached to your turbo, you need to put a 1/2-inch spacer there. You don't have the room to clock it with the clearance on that manifold. But that's like an extra $50. You know, it's really kind of worth it. You can pick up those spacers just about anywhere that sells diesel truck parts. They're pretty common on diesel trucks. The other thing you could do is get like a T3 to T4 one just welded right on. They make threaded versions, but then you have to worry about 2 gaskets leaking. I would just go ahead and get it welded on there. For intercooler, I went with the whole CX Racing kit. You guys have seen that. I'm just getting ready to fit all the piping now. I wanted to get everything else situated. We're going to be building the intake manifold with all the vacuum lines, the fuel, and everything within the next video or two, especially now since I have access to my shop. I have my car there. It's a lot easier for me to work, so I can get into bigger projects like that. I don't have to worry about covering stuff up for water or anything like that when I was working on my car on my lunch breaks. So that's just it. With the forward-facing intake manifold, I went with the eBay, I want to say it's Deep Motor. It's a very good price, very good product. I haven't had to, put it together yet, but everything it includes is phenomenal. I mean, it's awesome. I really have no complaints about it. Warning, if you're using this on a Mk4 Supra, you will have to relocate your power steering. A lot of guys have claimed that theirs comes with a little 1-inch spacer that they can put on the end. However, once again, causes 2 gasket failures, another failure point. Just spend the $300 on the chase base kit and move your power steering out of the way. That eBay manifold has a 90mm throttle body, and I'm going to be using the factory Toyota TPS and the idle air control. As for a throttle cable, I don't remember what mine's for. Now, it's going to be specific for your application. My car's right-hand drive, so I needed something a lot longer. I want to say it's from like a Celica. I'm pretty sure it's from Celica of like the 90s. But it's like a really long throttle run. It seems to be perfect and work for my situation. However, yours may be different if you're going in 18, like an SC300, GS300, IS300, any of those. So, as for harness, you guys know, I had my 20-minute, 30-minute long video just before this. I pinned my own harness. Now, what I want to say as a disclaimer is, if it doesn't work, I'm just going to buy a tweaked harness. But the way that I set it up, I wanted to be able to fix anything. God forbid something happened to my car. I wanted to know what controlled what. Am I confident that this is going to start my car? I'm like 90% there. It's just the coil unplug stuff and the last 4 wires that I have left. They seem to play a big part in this. However, like I said, if it fails, I'm just going to buy a tweaked harness. No big deal at all. And finally, for ECU, I went with, if you watched that harness video, you know, I went with the Ecumaster EMU Black. I like this unit because it's built-in map sensor. It's not plug and play unless you get what I got, and it wasn't going to end up working with the setup that I wanted to use, so now it's useless to me. So if anybody wants to buy this, just hit me up. Give you a pretty hefty discount, but this is the 2JZ Mk4 Supra plug and play connector that goes from your stock harness in here, and then it actually goes out to the EMU Classic right here, which is something that is kind of nice. And then from there it pigtails out and goes into the EMU Black. But I already messed with my stock harness, and I'm not going to repin it back to factory locations. Having that in your car is once again another spot where it's prone to failure. However, it's going to make it very easy if you use a jumper harness like that to add sensors, to add other things. But the detailed instructions that they give you with this thing kind of made wiring my own harness in kind of simple. I'm not a wiring guy at all. I never will be. But something like this, they provided me with so much stuff. I actually have it right here. I have notes written on the back of it, but they gave me pinouts for everything. They give you a little guide, you know, and you can see I checked off every single wire as I went down. You guys seen this paperwork if you watched that video, but they give you everything you need to do, man, and it honestly just makes it pretty simple. So I want to wrap it up there, but first I'm going to take you across the hall, and I'll show you a little secret I'm planning on putting in the car. So as you know, I'm going to be putting a carbon lip on the car. I just have to go get it fixed. I already have a carbon TRD hood, and I just ordered the wing blade for the TRD wing in full carbon. So what else goes with that? Sebin carbon fenders. So I got these when I got my hood. I didn't know if I was going to use them, but I think I'm going to run them this year. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of carbon stuff. So we're going to leave you guys off here. If you watch the whole thing, you know now we'll be installing these soon. I'll give you the sneak peek of the bumper early next video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I appreciate every single one of you guys watching. I didn't think I'd have any interest in this build at all, and it's really cool to have you guys trying to follow along. So